Hi everybody, I hope you're keeping well. Today I'm going to be talking to you about managing children's behavior at home. So by managing behavior at home, what I mean is how can we create conditions where we encourage certain behaviors and likewise discourage certain behaviors that we might not like. Now, over the past 2 years, you at home as parents have had to manage children's behavior at home, manage children's schoolwork, and I'm sure that you got to know your child way more than ever before because of this time spent in both these different time frames at home. But now we are going back to school, and children are going back to the kind of interactions they also need with their peers and also in a school environment. But at the same time, they're going to come home and you're going to have to manage a lot of things with them at home as well. Now, you are used to working with them at home possibly. So there's a good chance that you might want to also continue doing that. And that's a really good thing, to be involved with their schoolwork or even to read with your children. I think one of the things that you can really keep in mind is that the more you do things with your children, the better it is. And actually, it's even more than the quantity of things you do, it's the quality of things you do. So right off the bat, I can tell you that, every night reading with your child, that's a very, very good way to have quality time with your children. You can talk to them about a lot of the values that we live our lives through, a lot of the values that we mark our behaviors through. So make sure that you do this. And of course, the kind of stories that you pick would also be interesting for both your child and yourself. Schoolwork must be done, homework must be like maybe they could be helping you around with the house, learning how to do little things. At this age, this is also a good thing. And also play. So we would kind of think that these three things are required. If there is schoolwork, if your child is a little bit older, then you have to leave time for that. But if not, definitely play. Definitely they should be helping you with household chores so that they are also getting a sense of what it's like to be an adult. Now, having said what it's like to be an adult, I think I need to make very clear here that when you think of a child, we shouldn't think of somebody who's growing up to be an adult. We should actually see a child. In other words, what we want is that the child is able to enjoy this time period as a child. They don't have to move towards something else. So there isn't always doing for them. It's always there's a significant amount of playing. And playing is really an important task because a lot of the skills of behavior are learned through play. Things like turn taking, sharing in pair settings where they are able to interact with others, and also being able to spend time with themselves. Play is a good time for this. Now, when we are talking about bad behaviors, it's also important for us to keep in mind that prevention is always better than cure, right? In other words, it's much better to encourage a good behavior from the get-go than have a bad behavior that is so bad that you have to actually now begin thinking of rather stringent methods, maybe even things like punishment, in order to help them to understand what you would like to do or for them to do. So here are some hints. The first thing is, just as much as play and spontaneity is good for kids, it's also good for them to have structured time so that they know what comes next, then what comes next, and these types of schedules also prepare them for example, bedtime. Children, if not tired, tend not to go to bed quickly, tend not to go to sleep, tend not to like to go to bed. Children, when stimulated, when very excited, also doesn't want to go to bed. A child who is tired would actually want to go to bed. So a schedule that actually prepares towards this, so that they can have a good bedtime, so that they can get up in the morning and start their new day afresh, is a very good thing. So a schedule is very nice. One thing you might want to do is to carefully look at a variety in your schedule, right? For example, you might not want to have the same schedule every day of the week. You might want to have different types of activities. Maybe you might even want to throw in a spontaneity day, so, but make sure that they have structured time for them to do the things that they like. And also, this is a time for you to spend time with children. This is allocated time that you as a parent would spend time with your child. Recently, I was reading this very interesting perspective from a parent who said that, after he became a parent, he began to realize that he has to have a lot of time, way more time than he did before parenting, and that it was very difficult for him to schedule time for himself. So he decided to take on a new approach. He decided that he would define his own time as the time that he would spend with his children. And this, he said, was revolutionary for him, because now he began to have more time, and he began to also appreciate the time he was spending with his kids as much as if it was his own time. So a balance there is always good, and I can only suggest these things. You need to find what works best for you. Another thing is, you might want to talk to your kids. Even as young as 2 or 3, children are beginning to acquire language just by listening, right? So when you talk to them, what happens is that they begin to have this wonderful feeling of importance, because you are one spending time with them. But they're also beginning to hear words, improve on their vocabulary, pick up on grammar, all the kind of implicit learning that normally happens. So talk to your kids, and talk to your kids actually about what is good behavior and bad behavior, how you would like them to behave, and also why. And this is also a good time, when you do talk to your kids, to talk to them about consequences of behavior, agreeing to rules of conduct, especially when they are dealing with other children, their own siblings and friends, so that they have a reference point. A lot of the behavior is managed when children know what to do. When children don't know what to do, you see that there's a lot more acting out. So when you interact with them in a way that they are clearer and clearer about what is expected of them and why, they are more apt to stay on the line of good behavior. Then another really good way to manage behavior, because you're developing more positivity, is to develop practice of gratitude. And here what we mean is, at the end of the day, say you're tucking your child into bed, you could have this very simple conversation with them. What were the good things that happened to you today? What are you thankful for, right? And the emphasis here is that you not only talk about the good things, but you are also able to process some of the more negative experiences that they have had. So you can also talk about, what were the most scary things, or what were the things that you did not like, so that you can help them through resolution with that also. Now, these are a few things that you can have. Make sure there's time for play, there's time for different types of stimulation, read with your child, spend time with your child talking, and of course this gratitude practice. And I hear myself repeating, spend time with your child, spend time with your child, spend time with your child. And I think one thing you need to keep in mind here is, it's the quality of time that works, right? Not so much the quantity of time. So make every second there valuable to help them to understand, what are good behaviors, and what would be some of the consequences of more negative behaviors. Now, I think when I talk to you about managing children's behavior, I just need to qualify here that I did not really talk to you about managing tantrums. Maybe we can have another video on that, or you can ask some questions regarding that. But I hope this helps you. Thank you very much for your time.